It's very pleasurable to want, but it can be angsty because it's like almost an unfilled thing. And we're so used to filling, especially body sensations in today's culture, right? You feel 1 ounce of pain, you immediately take a Tylenol or
Yes.
move or and so there is, like, such an immediate, like, feel something, fix it.
Hungry, eat. Thirsty, drink.
Mhm. Horny fuck. Like
Yes.
and it happens, like, so quick, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, but what we're offering is let's, like, slow it all down because there's so much more sensation available if you can ride that edge of discomfort. This is Erotic Reclamation.
A space where desire isn't shameful, boundaries are a turn on, and curiosity is welcome wherever it leads. I'm Nicolette.
And I'm Carrie. And we're here to have honest conversations about sex, kink, relationships, aliveness, being in a body, and all the weirdness that entails, and pleasure that heals.
Because these electrifying, liberating, ecstatic, but misunderstood parts of the human experience are too good to hide. Today, we're talking about desire. We have spent a lot of time exploring desire. It's actually one of the core things that brought us together and had us doing this work together. And our clients often come to us because there is some challenge. And at the root of that challenge is some aspect of desire. And out of all these explorations, we have come to a framework outlining 5 different foundational stages of desire. And what happens in these stages that are gifts for how you can dive more deeply into that aspect of desire so that you can get more clarity or if there's a stuck point, but also where there are breakdowns. And these are the areas where there are most commonly found breakdowns. And so we're going to outline those today and talk about the gifts and the breakdowns that show up for each one, and also ways that you can work with them for yourself and in your relationships.
Yeah, I think I love using desire as a North Star. And we'll get into it because I can already hear the questions of like, well, what? I can just hear the questions already, and we're gonna dive into all of it. The shadow side, the addiction side, the well, I don't even know what I want. Well, they
Mhm.
won't even give me that. We are gonna speak to a lot of the common questions we hear around this, but the heart of desire and the pulse, the thread, the tug, the orientation desire can give you for your life, regardless of if you act upon the desire, which we will get into, is so beautiful, so powerful, and where I feel like I just feel gifted by reorienting to this all the time. Like, oh, where am I off? Where have I already shut down what I think is available? Where am I not okay with what I want? Where am I getting, like, tripped up in asking for it from my partner? Or where when he's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, blank slate completely.
Mhm.
Or the ever fun one, when he's giving it to me, I'm just, like, in my head thinking, and I can't even realize that I'm getting it. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we've come up with 5 areas that are opportunities for more knowing of yourself, and then towards the end of the framework, more intimacy with another.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll intro them just once, go over the 5, and then Nicolette will start kinda deep diving. So our first stage of desire is feeling, sensing, and desire begins in the body. The second stage is articulating. Clarity makes your desire potent. The third stage is claiming, and that's fully owning your desire for yourself.
I love that one. Sorry,
Yeah.
I end up smiling really big when you say that.
That one's a yes, that one's a very good one. Fourth stage, this is where we move into the we, and that's negotiating. The fifth stage is giving and receiving, and that's co creating deep intimacy.
Mm, yes.
So let's start with the first one, feeling sensing.
Yeah, so often one of the most common challenges that people have with desire is feeling desire. Like, not even knowing what desire feels like,
Mhm.
and or even how to know if you're feeling desire. There's physical cues that can often happen, like physical cues of turn on, or when people refer to horniness, there's physical cues, blood engorging in specific places of the genitals, and you know pulse racing and heart rate speeding up. And there's certain things, and you can probably speak more to the science, but there's that comes with it. But there are other sensations of desire that you can explore and look at that go beyond the physiological human turn on, that kind of open the pathway, the portal to even feeling and knowing what it is that you are desiring. It opens pathways to creativity and clarity and possibility in intimacy. So often when we start with the feeling and sensing, we even just start with feeling and sensing, period. So
Mhm.
it's like first feeling and sensing what it is to have thoughts and your mind going, and then feeling and sensing sensation in your body, which can start with pain or tension, which is what most people feel when they feel their body, and then moving to neutral sensations or places that don't have a lot of feeling, and then to positive sensation and even pleasure. But pleasure can be difficult to access. And then emotional sensations, like what are you actually feeling emotionally? And how do you know you're feeling that? What do you feel exactly? So starting there, and then being able to start to identify something as a desire, often we begin with fantasy as a pathway to that, going into something that you fantasize about, and then bringing that into your body sensation, your emotional sensation, your thoughts, to bring it into the body. And that can start to tap you into the actual sensation of desire, which I'll just say for myself isn't always a pleasant sensation. It can be achy, it can be
Yes.
tight, it can be, you know,
Mhm.
like, gnarly.
Like, fill, like, I want, I need, because inherently,
Hungry.
desire is like a thing that's right out here, right? Because it's like pleasure versus desire. I find them to run in the same vein. Like, it's very pleasurable to want, but it can be like angsty because it's like almost an unfilled thing. And we're so used to filling, especially body sensations in today's culture, right? You feel 1 ounce of pain, you immediately take a Tylenol or
Yes.
move, or, and so there is like such an immediate, like, feel something, fix it.
Hungry, eat. Thirsty, drink.
Mhm. Horny fuck. Like,
Yes.
and it happens, like, so quick, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, but what we're offering is, let's, like, slow it all down because there's so much more sensation available if you can ride that edge of discomfort of not having, and, like, really bring your awareness to, and, like, breath to the sensation. It can really build in a uncomfortable but also quite pleasurable way. Like getting
Yeah.
hungry before you eat the, like, Brazilian steakhouse meal. Like, you don't wanna snack right before, you wanna, like, let that hunger, like, build so that when you get that bite, it's like, "Oh my god, I've been waiting 5 hours for this." I'm
Yes.
so I love this topic too. I'm like, "Oh, it's like I'll have what she's having, Harry
Yeah.
met Sally vibes."
Yes. Yeah, yeah. We were talking about feeling sensation as sensation. So feeling desire as desire and really letting that build. Yeah, it's juicy, and then you can identify it when it comes again. So it's like, "Oh, I'm feeling desire," and to feel it without the expectation that it be met.
Mhm,
Um, because that rush to have it met, "Okay, I just need to fuck. I need to, you know, fulfill, have the orgasm," or whatever that is, that immediately bypasses. I mean, it's sometimes you just need to do that, but it
mhm,
can but also it can bypass a lot of possibility for intimacy and connection and with yourself or with another.
mhm,
Like to seep in the pleasure of receiving your own fantasy and desire in a solo masturbation or pleasure practice can be so delicious. And with a partner to really seep in the desire to be able to, as we move to some of these other stages, articulate it and claim it for yourself and then eventually receive it, then the receiving is even more. It's like what you were saying about the Brazilian steakhouse. If then you just like shove the food in your face, then it's not as satisfying as actually like tasting it and savoring it, enjoying the conversation around it.
mhm. Food's such a great metaphor with desire because it's also a very similar you can use appetite, you can satiation. So, I would just say if feeling sensing can be a hard place to enter for some people, especially if you're, like, not in touch with a lot of sensation in your body. This part can sound a little, like, esoteric and like, "What do you mean I can feel desire in my body?" So, if this is landing, like, kinda blank. I wanna just point back to something you said at the start, which is just feeling your body, period, is, like, the
Mhm.
starting place. Like, what sensation if you're listening right now, like, what sensation do you feel in your physical body? You feel your hands? Do you feel any tension? A lot of times it might start with a negative sensation. Maybe your back is tight or you have a headache. Um,
Hot or cold, that can
mhm.
help. It's a good way in.
So starting to do that every day, maybe while you drive your car to work, just, okay, let me bring my awareness to my hands, bring my awareness to the breath is always one you'll hear, but what does that actually mean? Do you feel your breath expanding your belly? Maybe your breath's not that deep. Do you feel the breath coming in through your nasal passages, or maybe you're congested and you feel it through your open mouth because it is cold season? Um, but that if you're listening to this and you're like, "I have no idea," I would say when you drive your car, every time you just first click your seatbelt in and get yourself safely, don't get lost in your body sensations. But maybe before you start driving, like, check what your feeling sensation is doing. And if you do that over time, you'll be amazed how all of a sudden you'll be in a work meeting and you'll be like, wow, I can feel all of my skin. Or like, oh, I just took a breath that was actually quite enjoyable in the middle of this meeting. So that's a first place to start if you're completely lost with feeling sensation.
That's great. As a next step to that could be what I like to call the rolling around in bed practice,
Dope into it. Tell me.
where either first thing in the morning or the last thing before you go to bed, you just literally roll around and feel.
Mhm.
like feel the blankets, nuzzle up, put your head in the pillow, tense up if you need to, if it's cold, if but actually feel in bed. I mean, I love doing it first thing in the morning because it's a good way to kind of wake up,
Mhm.
and it's waking up in my body in the moment. How am I
Mm.
actually feeling as I wake up? Am I grumpy? Am I agitated? Am I all somehow very alert and awake? Am I like greeting the day like a puppy? Because sometimes I do, and I can do that while just being in bed.
Mm. That's such a great one. The experience of clean sheets, I think we can all agree, is like, just like
Yes.
naked, clean sheets, and then
Yes.
doing whatever that roll around to the bed practice is like the epitome of pleasure. Separate side note, epitome of pleasure is fresh sheets.
Totally. Need access to pleasure? If you need access to pleasure, wash your sheets.
Any more you want to say on feeling sensing, or you want to start trotting along?
Yeah, let's trot along.
Let's trot, let's trot. So, this might be a stage that a lot of people actually have more entry point or think they do, and this is articulating. So, clarity makes the desire potent. And so, it's what exactly do you desire? So, I find a lot of times it's a lot easier to intellectualize what you want. Um, and so, these stages, they're not, are they linear?
They don't have to be.
They
You
don't
can
have
come
to
in
be.
you can come in any place. They do have linear progression, and that, from feeling desire, then you naturally would put words to it or somehow get some clarity on what is that you do desire.
Mm-hmm. But
But
you could start with articulating and then
then feel it.
move into the feeling of it. Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah. So,
That's the fantasizing that that way in. Yeah, for sure.
mhm. So what exactly do you desire? And if we're gonna take our food metaphor, at this Brazilian steakhouse, if I expect them to read my mind, or if I say, I would like something that came from a cow, but I don't specify. And it's like, well, someone's gonna show up with some food, and eventually they might, especially a Brazilian steakhouse, they will bring around everything on the menu, but there's potency in a clarity that then someone can then meet it smoother, easier, faster.
Yeah. And this often when we teach this stage, we do it journaling because speaking it out loud and also speaking it to another person can feel very daunting. And that's why those stages come a little bit later.
Mm,
So, this initial stage is being able to do it for yourself and not even needing to speak it out loud or own it, because sometimes articulating a desire can be very confronting.
mhm,
You start to you see some porn, or you read a story, or you start to imagine something that seems like desirable to you or turns you on, and the idea of that can bring up a lot. I can't have that, or I don't wanna have that, or it's shameful to have that. So, just initially being able to do it privately for yourself can be very valuable, and writing it down so that you are articulating it and are getting the clarity, but in a place in which nobody else would ever have to see it. And again, without the expectation that you have to receive it, but just
mhm.
being able to name it can be can be very potent for sure.
Yeah. I think this is, I mean, I think it's potent for all desire. I think it can be especially potent, just like you're saying, for the ones that you really don't want to admit. Because we're not, again, we're not saying go act on these, but there's so much to be discovered when you're just honest about what your body's drawn towards.
Mm,
And it's like, "Oh, I am really," and it can give you information about, like, a nutrient that you are missing, or that you are like, "Ooh, I'm really, like, drawn to," oh, it's not this, it's, like, something underneath it, like, I don't know if I wanna go into examples, but it can be an indicator of a way that you can get, this met if you want in the future. That's not the exactness of it. So I'm talking about taboo. I'll just go ahead, and we won't give
yeah.
a specific one, but I will just be more clear. So you might have a taboo desire that you're like, there's no way in heck I would tell Aunt Mary that I want this. Great. You might not even tell your partner you want it, but
Mhm.
the pure act of concealing it can often be felt, and then sometimes it comes out sideways, and then you're in the dark categories of the internet finding this thing, and there are ways to work with taboo desires that you don't have to act upon, but you can acknowledge are there.
Yeah, and some of these nutrients that you're talking about, might have textures of surrender or filled with sensation, being blasted with beauty, being being able to let go of control, being taken. There are lots of textures that then you can find in your life. Like that nutrient can be met without the exact thing that you wrote down. And so but getting to that clarity can help you get to the clarity of what the nutrient is.
Mhm,
And, for me, letting go of control was a big one. And so even before I was in a dominant submissive dynamic, when I was really having to lead my life, when I was single, creating spaces where I like going into a dance class where I'm told what to do and I can just move my body and someone's guiding me, that was enough to fulfill that nutrient without having you know, to have a dom and all those things.
mhm, mhm. And we talk about this a lot more. If it feels like we're being a bit vague, this is public consumption right now. And if you're interested to dive into some of the specific topics, Nicolette and I are so comfortable in the realms of taboo. We just won't always go to that in these recordings in this space, but we do this kind of work in person around dark desire or taboo or shadow desire and what to do with it. So that is very much welcome. And if you find yourself with any questions or more intrigue around that, like, please seek us out and come find some of our live classes, offerings, and in-person offerings where we can really support and help you in this exploration of your desire.
Yeah.
Mhm. Trot, trot, trot.
Let me just
Back,
check to see if
chat,
there's anything
chat,
else.
chat, chat.
Let me check. Well, just one more thing, which is that often in the articulating, fears can come up
Mm,
just in the process itself. So being able, whether it's with a therapist or with a friend, being able to have a safe space where you can speak to those fears that are coming up or shame or anything that arises, um, can also be another way to help you get to that nutrient without, because it can be difficult to give yourself the nutrient if it's also coming with a lot of shame and fear.
yeah.
So getting support in navigating the shame and fear can then support you in being able to receive that nutrient.
Yes, 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 yes. And that reminded me, because then that's a perfect segue into claiming.
Yes.
And a lot of times it can, if you have unresolved shame or judgment of your desire, it can appear as unarticulated, or like, I don't know what I want, I don't know exactly, or you're kind of skirting around it. And if that's the case, I would suggest you look maybe if there's a little bit of like shame blocking the true potency of what it is that you want. So then that moves us into stage 3, which is claiming. And this is fully owning your desire for yourself. how can you release any shame or judgment to claim this desire?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't claim their desires because of a fear of rejection from another person.
Mhm,
That is one of the most common things that we hear.
mhm.
And also, been there, me too.
Experience, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right here, right here. So this stage, w we when we slowed it down and added this stage for ourselves, it opened, a all kinds of, doors for us, and then we started bringing it in our in-person programs, and this is sometimes the most powerful part of our offerings.
yeah.
It's like the thing that people remember most that stays with them,
Mhm,
um, and it is because to actually speak something out loud or claim it in some way, again, not for another person or not to the person that you would want to have it with, but in a safe space where you get to do it for you and you alone, um, is so powerful and can be enough nourishment that you don't even necessarily have to move on to the next stages.
mhm,
Sometimes it's all you need is the
mm,
claiming of it.
yeah. This is like to be witnessed and loved, like to see people who are like still making eye contact with you, still like loving you as a person, seeing your value when you've just shared something that you are convinced will make people walk away or turn their back on you, that does something to the nervous system. That does something to the body. That degree of steady, consistent presence in the face of that much vulnerability is so powerful, both to give and receive, to be witness to someone's claim. I don't know, maybe you've had these experiences in your life when someone shares something they want and it's so deeply vulnerable and they were almost completely changed by it
Mhm.
and you just want to lean in. You just are it's moving, it's touching, it's real. It's such a beautiful part.
Yeah. So a way that this can look is if you wanna do this with another person, is to get with someone you very much trust, who is not the person that you want to share the desire with, like, not the person that you're actually desiring if it involves another person. So a deeply trusted friend, a therapist, a teacher, like, somebody that can hold really good space and claim that desire. I desire, I want, I desire, and ask them just to witness you, that it's not about them meeting your desire, it's not about them giving any feedback on it, that you just wanna be witnessed.
Mhm,
One of my favorite ways to do this is for myself in front of the mirror,
mhm,
and I do this often with things that aren't sexual desires.
mm.
So, for example, for a couple weeks every day, I was claiming the amount of money I wanted to make.
Oh, nice. In front of the mirror?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, like, "This is my price," or, "This is what I wanna make," and I claimed it just to claim it for myself,
Mm,
and it changed something because, like, initially, when I first did it, my heart would start racing, and I could feel all the fear coming up, but then as I kept doing it over the course of the week, I felt
mm,
clear, I felt powerful, I felt grounded, I was breathing, I was steady.
mm,
So, this is a good one.
mhm. As an aside, it was not around desire, but it just reminds me a lot of what we're teaching can be used in a lot of areas in life, especially the desire framework. we like it in the realms of sex because that's where I've struggled with it, and that's where it's fun when you turn it around and benefit from it. So that's my personal fave, but I remember when I was early on in, like, my sex educator journey and having to say the word "pussy," and, like, the first time you say it is like, "Pussy." It's like rushed or it's like, "Pussy," or like cunt. And it's like and you're like, "Whoa, my body feels like the leftover, like, shame, like, rising up in it." So it might even you might even just start with naming your genitals or, like, that might be edgy enough just to say however it is you wanna refer to your genitals.
Mm.
And then the more you do it over time, like you said, you start to be like, "Oh, my body's a little bit calmer. I can say pussy. I can say pussy to Nicolette. I can say pussy to the internet," you know? And so I do think there's a lot for this self-practice and just noticing and like, oh, over time, it can be easier to claim something and don't be deterred if initially it feels really uncomfortable and if you're like, "Wow, I want to motorboat you," and you're like, "Well, "Okay, that didn't." Like, the first time I said that, I didn't even believe myself. I wouldn't let myself do that. Like, "Okay, that's fine." This is all part of the process of being comfortable with your own desire, being comfortable with these parts of your sex, talking about it. So, yeah, y'all can start in the mirror in the morning. You can do your roll around naked practice. You
And then
can,
go in the mirror and and say what you desire. Don't
yeah,
name your genitals.
yeah. We're giving you all kinds of ways in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. So the claiming and I think we actually don't have a stage for what happens between 3 and 4. It's kind of a lack of action stage, and I think that is also one of the most potent. So claiming is a really potent, and then the space in between claiming a desire and making any movement towards that desire, I think is also kind of a really rich non-stage stage.
Mhm.
It's what happens after you've gotten clear, after you feel it, you've gotten clear, you've claimed it and let your shame go away. Just sitting in that for a moment, a whole new world will open up because it's not tilted by your fear. And
Mhm.
so, like you said, that might be the end right there. With certain desires, that is. Just admitting that you want that sometimes is where that stops.
Yeah, and there's a great freedom in it too,
Mhm,
to know that that is as far as I have to go. I don't have
mhm,
to go any further.
mhm,
And then y you can get a lot of nourishment just from that,
mhm.
and the
Oh,
freedom of yeah.
I want this to stay in the realm of fantasy or this thing that I feel kinda conflicted about, but I like feeling conflicted, so it's hot like, it can stay in that realm or it can stay in the dirty talk realm because 'cause you've
Mm,
gotten clear on it now, so your dirty talk is gonna be explicit, and
mm.
you do it in front of the mirror and you practice saying your saying "pussy," your dirty talk game is gonna just launch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, unintended side effect of this is a dirty talk game increase. But
Mhm.
if you decide then that you want to move into receiving this desire or taking this desire into connection with another person, that's when we move into stage 4, which is negotiating. And a question we like to pose in this stage is what is needed to give or receive this desire with an open and willing heart and body?
Yeah. So, in these first 3 stages, you're starting to find that body heart connection to the desire. It doesn't just live off in mental landia, but you're moving it more into your body and in your heart. But there can still be a level of closure because that moment of bringing it to another person can come with a new layer of fear. And so really feeling into what would it take for me to be able to receive it from an open place,
Mhm,
and for the other person, same thing, to be able to give it from an open place does take conversation. It takes negotiation and often structure.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, this is depending the scale of the desire and how you relate to it. This is not just a quick 1 or 2 sentence thing. This is often finding common ground, finding shared desire, finding where the edges are, where both people are agreeing to maybe stretch, finding where the hard boundaries and the walls are. And we, again, have a process for helping people understand seemingly conflicting desires.
Mhm,
It's like my fucking geek out jam wheelhouse is how can we find common ground when we are seemingly so at odds? I want this, they want this. And again, throwing back, we basically strip it down to the level of the nutrient.
mhm,
What is underneath this specific desire? The action might look like, I want you to kneel, but underneath that desire might actually be a desire to feel respected.
mhm,
And so while your partner may be a no to kneeling, they might be a yes to, I'm hoping they're a yes to you feeling respected. And how can they respect you in a way that they are a yes to? And so, again, it sounds simple. It can be quite heated when it comes to your desire because, especially again, if you've got some shame residual, that will usually show its face during these conversations. You'll be quick to look for rejection. You'll be
mhm.
quick to look for what someone else's no means about you. And without going through the whole process, just curiosity is the word I would return to if you are negotiating with a loved one. Curiosity. Return to curiosity. So if you find yourself getting a little pointed or walled, can you get curious about what they're saying, or can you get curious about what you're feeling and then share?
Yeah, and it's curiosity as opposed to coercion.
Mhm,
So you're never coercing someone out of their no or out of their boundaries. Um, but in service of some greater area of connection that the two of you have agreed on, there's some reason why the two of you are connecting,
mhm,
even if it's fun or play or, but it could be love. Who knows what in service of that thing, getting curious and really finding where the yes is.
mhm.
I mean, often what ends up getting co-created out of that, at least in my experience, is better than the thing I originally showed up with.
Yes. Yes. It's so, I mean, and because both people are like, because you get to be like, wait, when I kneel in front of you, this is what it does for you? Oh, I've just been focused on the fact that my knee hurts.
Yeah.
But wait, you want to ravage me? I'm a little more interested now.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love all these stages. I love all the stages. I'll be honest. We hit every stage and I'm like, yes, this stage.
Yeah.
But I love negotiation with this framework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll add another piece for the person who didn't show up with a desire. If someone comes with a
Mhm.
desire, you know, curiosity on your end can be really fun. Like, "Oh, so would you want me," like, I mean, this has its own version of dirty talk because it's like, "Okay, so do you want me on my back or do you want me on my front? Do you want to see, like, my nipples? Do you want it," like, like, getting, like, "Okay, so and if I'm doing this and I'm doing," like,
Yeah.
to show up to it with a lot of curiosity and getting, assuming the other person has gotten some clarity, but they might not have. Like, if you're listening to this and someone comes to you with a desire and they haven't gone through the process of feeling, sensing, and articulating and claiming it, and they're just claiming it for the first time, you can bring that to them as the person who's receiving the desire. Like, you can actually guide them into articulating it and claiming it more fully through your curiosity and your good giving and gameness, your GGGness, in just exploring it with them. And then, like, okay, so you want me on my left knee? Well, but my left knee is kind of sore. Can I do right knee instead? Okay, cool. So you can still be negotiating boundaries with that same level of curiosity.
Yes. And one more piece, I would say final, but it's never final with us when it comes to the desire framework. One more piece is the thing you mentioned about what is this in service of might also shift because if it's like, this is in service of your pleasure and we're really clear it is about your pleasure, then am I willing as your partner or as your person who we again have healthy dynamic here, I am so willing to give that to you, knowing that this is for your pleasure. Sometimes if it's like something I don't want to do, and then now we're putting my pleasure into the mix, and now I have to find pleasure in a thing I don't want to be
Yeah.
doing, it gets a little murky. But if it's like, oh, I can just make this all about you having an epic time, like, hell yeah, I am all in on that. And then, the sneaky fucking thing, the pleasure from the other person usually arrives. But that kind of what is this in service for might be another way to unlock a seemingly like stalled negotiation.
Yeah, it's great.
Clarity is hot. Okay, we could keep going, but let's move on to our final stage, which is giving and receiving. Co-creating deep intimacy. How can you stay present in your body with breath and connection to the other while fully receiving that which you most desire?
Ooh.
Ooh, tell us.
Well, yeah, and so this stage can often get tricky
Hmm.
because you've articulated it, you've said it, you've claimed it, you've done the negotiation, ready to go for it, and then when it comes to the actual doing of it, "Oh, wait, but that's not exactly the thing I wanted, and hold on, wait, but I don't even know if I can actually take this now," like, all this stuff can come up, and we've talked a lot about ways in which we've gone into our heads,
Mhm.
and that's held us back in our intimacy, and it's often in this where the head can really come in,
Yeah.
and so this is where we say, yeah, how do you stay in your body
Mhm.
to be able to fully receive it. And our number one starting point for everybody is go slow. Slow it down, take it slow, don't rush into it, have points of checking in.
Mhm.
That's why it's great to have somewhere, if you have safe words set up, yellow, often in the green, yellow, red zone. Yellow is a really nice one because if red is stop, yellow is slow down, pause. So you can call a yellow and slow it down and tease things apart and check in and hang on. I was imagining it to be like this and it's all of a sudden not, and I'm a little confused and I'm not sure. This is where the weather report can come in, where you can actually share what's happening in your body and in your feelings. And
Mhm.
assuming that you've done some work to feel and sense, you can communicate that a little bit and then negotiate something to then green light it forward.
Mhm. Yeah. It's kinda like a circle, actually, because the giving and receiving really circles back to the feeling and sensing, and then articulating, right? Like, "Oh, this actually is not the thing I wanted, and this is causing pain in my body in a way that I don't like. Oh, let me be clear. Can we change this?" So it really will can continue to build. And another piece of a place to start is small time frames. Let's
Mm,
try this for 2 minutes. Let's try this for 5 minutes, right? That can be another really good way to know when it's gonna stop and then check, like, "Okay, do we need any modifications? Do we like how this is going? Wanna take the timer off and just rock with it?" There's all kinds, and then also just getting clear how you get in your own way, especially with giving and receiving, especially with giving and receiving and the societal pressure and
mhm.
kind of like unwritten norm that you're good in bed if you give.
Yeah.
If you are both giving, ain't nobody receiving, and where is the good in bed? So it is actually an extreme act of generosity to receive. And that one is it can be really tricky, it can be really hard, there's lots of different ways that you can get in your own way, so rather than us even knowing exactly what those are, getting clear with yourself, ruthlessly honest with your partner. This is the way it might go down. Start I might start doming you. I might start not feeling my body. I might start, like, glazing over, whatever it might be. Honest
Mhm.
conversation and dialogue around it, and then it's just the same as the mirror practice. You just do small doses, and you see if you're with one person, multiple people, like, you are like you have a little time and you see this person is staying with you in the receiving of this. They're staying in you. They might be staying in you. That was a Freudian slip. Staying with you in whatever comes up in the receiving. And that's something we've talked about. That kinda dips into some of our previous podcasts and our future podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanna point out that even if you're the one that spoke the desire, you don't have to endure it. Um,
Yes.
like like you and I this is why I love that you brought in the small time frames, is you might, after 2 minutes, say, "You know what? That's enough. I actually don't want this anymore," or "Not like that," or and so it's very common that people, once they actually get to the getting of it, will stay because, "Oh, I asked for it and now they're giving it to me and now but
Yeah.
you do not have to ever stay
Mhm,
if there is a no showing up,
mhm,
ever, even if you asked for it.
mhm.
And that's where a lot of danger zone shows up. And so knowing that you can still exercise a no or safe word, even if you're the one that asked for it,
Yeah, yeah,
and you should.
yeah, and if you keep blowing past that, we can talk to you about that too. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the creation of this framework is to hopefully give tools, opportunities, points in to have and receive the kind of sex, love, physical touch, energetic touch, kinky scene that you are really craving. And some of that you might not know. You might not know till you get on the field, and it will change. That's like probably the only thing I can guarantee. It will change through the process of feeling it, articulating it, claiming it, bringing it to another person. And it will change for the better beyond what you think it's going to look like. It's going to take a life of its own, especially when you've got I mean, I wanna say it's with another person. You can do this in a solo setting, but it will change when there's another person who's in touch with their desires and also down to, like, what'd you say? GGG?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's where the magic happens, and you get this, like, scene that you would never have expected, and you take each other to this place, and you're like, "Whoa, how did we get here?"
Yeah. Yeah, really it's really juicy stuff. And as Carrie said, we take people through this process.
Mhm.
We have a retreat called the Temple of Yes, where we actually walk people through these stages. We do all kinds of practice. We do practices and exercises with them and can even support as things come up in the receiving of the desire. So there are a lot of tools that we can offer, whether it's in our in-person Temple of Yes retreat or through coaching and one-on-one or one-on-two or one-on-four support. However, there are of you that want support, we can offer that as well. So we have a lot of tools in our toolkit. We gave you some places to start, but we're also happy to support because whatever stage you're in and whatever comes up, we can tease that apart and help you through that.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, let us know if this resonates with you or if you've got pushback and you're like, "What about this?" Like, we we've brought a framework that we both have lived in, out, upside down, left, right, and sideways.
Yeah.
And it like we are experiential teachers. And so if like we will continue to update and grow with this and we welcome dialogue. We welcome the in the trenches of it because we want better sex for everyone out there who wants it.
Yes to that. Thanks for listening to Erotic Reclamation. If this episode did something for you,
Turned you on, made you think,
made you feel a little less alone, subscribe, leave a review,
share it with someone who needs it, and then come back for more.
because you get to want more.